Hi there booktube, it's Eleanor here, and today I'm doing a reads and received video. I've got two books that I want to talk to you about, both very different but both thoroughly enjoyable. One a 5-star read, and some books that I have received in book boxes and from Janet, and I'll carry on in a minute. So the first one I want to talk about was the 5-star read. You'll see I've got bits of tissue paper hanging out the end, which is some of the people that I was really interested in. This book is called Rebel Ladies Who Rocked the World, and it's Brazen by Penelope Bagier, I think, and I loved this. It is a selection of sort of 6-page, like every woman that has been selected has got sort of 6 to 7 pages about their life, and it's just the story of them and what they did. I'll pick out the favourite ones that I've got marked here. One of them is Margaret Hamilton. She is the actress who played the Wicked Witch of the West in the original Wizard of Oz film. She was unconventional in terms of her looks for a famous actress. I hate the fact that the Hollywood industry is so look obsessed, but she continued and she persevered, and she ended up becoming the Wicked Witch of the West. And she also did loads of other wonderful things with her life, and yeah, I just really enjoyed seeing how triumphant she was, and it was just brilliant to see. She suffered from her broomstick caught on fire while she was filming the film, and she ended up having months of surgery from burns, but she went back and finished the film. I thought she was truly inspirational. Another person that I have marked in here is Josephine Van Gorkum. It says that she was an obstinate lover. It's just talking about how she rallied against, she fell in love with someone, and it was during a time where there was this big Protestant Catholic divide. She just went against that, married someone who wasn't of the same religion, and it just looks at how they spent their life together. And in those days you weren't allowed to have your graves in the same place depending on what religion you were, and she did not want to be without her husband when she died. She fought for what she wanted, and what she did was she bought a plot of land right on the wall, like right by the wall, which was next to the cemetery where he was going to be buried, and it's still there now apparently. And this is, I can't know if you can see it here, the tombstone where the two tombstones are holding hands over this wall, and I just thought that was just really touched me. I thought that was really brilliant. And then I've marked one more in here, which is, and I mean, this is by no means like, I thought they were all brilliant, but these were just some of them. Oh, this one was brilliant. This is Frances Glessner Lee, and she was a crime miniaturist. So she basically was quite bored with her life. She was an intelligent lady, but she got married and ended up, you know, having a load of kids and just being really bored. And she had a hobby of making miniature, you know, like miniature scenes, like with dolls' houses and things, and she did, you know, really intricate detail. And then she became obsessed with these sort of these crimes and things, and finding out that the way someone said to her about how crime scenes were terrible. I think it was her husband having a conversation with a friend, and she was listening in, and he was just saying how all the stuff gets moved and no one can remember who it is, and it was just terrible. And so she started creating these miniatures of crime scenes. So she was made an honorary captain in the New Hampshire police, and then also, yeah, she founds the Harvard Associates in Police Science and organises week-long seminars to teach police and doctors how to interrogate a crime scene. I just think there's so many remarkable women in here, and one of the things that I loved was the majority, I reckon 95% of the women in here I'd never heard of, and they also, the fact that it led me to other things. One of the women that's talked about in here, it talks about a TED talk she's given, and so I looked up the TED talk and I could then watch the TED talk, and it just took me off in various directions, and just intrigued by the fascinating lives and sometimes the small things that women did just in order to like do what they want to do, you know, just in order to have a job, made such a big difference and made waves for so many things that happened. like now, I love this. I really thoroughly recommend it if you interested in some women that you might not have heard of before. It's beautiful artwork. I love all these different pages in here that sort of start and finish people's stories, and it's just enough of a snippet to get you intrigued. There's definitely people in here now that I'm going to be looking out for more books on, maybe more in depth, but yeah, I just really love this, and I gave it 5 stars. The other book that I finished was a real solid 4-star read, and that is because, thank you to all of you that encouraged me, after the video I made with Lauren, which I'll link up above, about book clubs, and we were talking about book clubs. Lauren's a member of quite a few. I was struggling in terms of book clubs. I didn't have one. I'd never been able to stick to one. I didn't know what to do. People kept suggesting in the comments that I start one up and giving me ideas, and I've started one up with people at work. I managed to get at least, well, there's one person that was really interested, and then there's 3 or 4 that are interested, but perhaps not on a monthly basis. But I decided that's okay, even if it's just the 2 of us some months, that's fine. And we decided to go along the idea of a theme. So every month, we've picked all the themes already and we put them in a jar. Every month at our meeting, we will pick out a theme, and then from that theme we'll all discuss books within that theme. We've already got a few to give us some ideas, and then we'll pick one to read for that month. And so this time we picked big books out as our theme, and so it had to be a book that was over 400 pages, I think it was. And we ended up picking this one. I'd had it for ages, it'd been recommended, and my book club thought it sounded good. And that is The Truth About the Harry Cubit Affair by Joel Dicker. This is translated from its original French, and it's sort of a literary crime story, contemporary crime story. Yeah, it's hard to categorise. I think this is mass market appeal. It has mass appeal. It's very easy reading. It's not written in a way that I think would stop people from being able to enjoy it, but it's quite complex, and it's just very cleverly done. It's a story about our main character Marcus. He is a writer. He's in his late 20s, and he's written a book that has become a bestseller. He's he's made quite famous. He's quite attractive, and now he's due to have his next book into his publisher, and he has a mental block. He can't write anything, and things are getting bad. And so he goes to visit his mentor, the man who was his university lecturer, who is also a one-time award-winning writer, for some tips and some help. And he goes to visit him, and then things transpire, and this writer that he's gone to visit, his mentor, is arrested for the murder 30 odd years previous of a 15-year-old girl who he was said to have been having a relationship with. And so what we have all the way through is we have parts where we are flitting back to Marcus and Harry, who is this man that's been arrested, his mentor, and how they met at university, and bits about that, and what the things Harry recommended for Marcus in his life. And then we also look at the present day and what is happening, and then we're also looking at snippets of what happened on this day or during this time when this girl disappeared, and this relationship with Harry and the rest of the town, and various different things start to unravel piece by piece. And the reason they start to unravel is that while Harry is in prison, Marcus decides that he is going to investigate this. He doesn't believe Harry did it. He wants to investigate it as a friend. And then as the ball starts rolling, it becomes obvious that he should be writing about this. And so we're following him, researching, investigating, and there was a few twists and turns. I wouldn't say I was like, it wasn't that type of book, but it was definitely one that left me wanting to read more, wanting to find out what had happened, intrigued by this small town where everyone was, and all the things that were going on with them. I just thought it was really clever. Definitely, it's 600 pages long, and it felt like a much shorter book. I didn't feel like there was excess in there. I felt like it was enough, you know, there was the right number of pages for the story. I definitely recommend this. I really enjoyed it, and as I say, I gave it a strong 4 stars. Okay, so let's talk about some of the books that I received. The first one is a book that came in one of my book boxes, and with this I got a Meet Cute vanilla cappuccino candle, which smells delicious, so I like that. And the book that came was Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli. Now, I hadn't picked this up myself. I'd heard various things. I'd not heard wonderful things, and I thought, I enjoyed Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda. I wasn't sure I was going to read this. I wanted to sort of leave that world behind, but now I've got it, I think I will read it. So I'm pleased that I have it now that it's here, and that I didn't have to, you know, I didn't go out and buy it myself. Well, I did buy it myself because I bought the book box, but anyway, I'm looking forward to giving it a go now. And if you didn't know, Becky Albertalli wrote Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda, and this is the story about one of our characters in that, Leah, who is Simon's best friend, and so we're following her in this story. I'm looking forward to seeing what I think of it. Next up was Book Box Club, and they surpassed themselves this time. I got a shower gel, which is coconut cream. I got this great sort of little tin with Bellatrix Lestrange on it, and then inside, ooh, you can probably hear, I don't know if I can show you without, is a lot of jelly beans, which I love jelly beans, so tasty. And there was a print of the Red Queen, Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland, and this time there was 2 books. The main book is All of This Is True by Lygia de Penaflor. I think that's how you say it. So it says on the back, Mira loves the novel Undertow like it's a living being, so when she and her friends get the chance to meet the author Fatima Rowe, they plot a way to get closer to her. As for what happened with Jonah, well, obviously none of that was Fatima's fault. Soliel wants to be a writer herself one day, and she can't believe it when Fatima asks them to hang out with her, and having Jonah there makes it even better. Penny is more than the party girl everyone thinks she is, and she's willing to share her darkest secrets with Fatima to prove it. But what will happen when Fatima finds out about Jonah? All of this is a true story of obsession and revenge, betrayal and forgiveness, and the devastating results of a secret that didn't stay buried. So this sounds intriguing. And then there was a limited edition proof in there of a book called The Boneless Mercies by April Genevieve Tukolk. This is what the cover will look like, and this is due to come out on the 4th of October, so this is really exciting. And it's a YA fantasy about a group of girls who are the Boneless Mercies. They're girls hired to kill quickly, quietly and mercifully. Men will not do their sad dark work. Men have options. It says that they're weary of the death trade and dream of a bigger life. That's our main character, Frey. And then she hears of a monster that's slaughtering men, women and children. And she decides that the Mercies need to, I suppose, vanquish this monster as a chance of sort of releasing themselves from whatever it is that they are forced to be doing. So yeah, it says this is the story of marshes and witches, of reeds and thorns, of women and giants. I think this sounds good. I'm really excited that that was in there. So that is what I got in the book boxes this month. Next, I was sent by the publisher a copy of More Happy Than Not by Adam Silvera. I've actually never read this, and I was really intrigued, and when I was asked if I would like a copy, I said yes please, thank you very much. This is the story of 16-year-old Aaron. It says with the help of his, life hasn't been easy for him, but with the help of his girlfriend, he's slowly remembering what happiness might feel like. Then Thomas shows up. Thomas is smart and funny, and before long, Aaron is spending all his time with him. But as Aaron's feelings for Thomas intensify, tensions with his other friends start to build. Soon Aaron is faced with a choice, one that will make him question what it is he wants and how far he'll go to get it. Why does happiness have to be so hard? I've heard great things about this, so I'm really looking forward to trying it for myself. The lovely Janet sent me Reaper at the Gates. This is by Sabah Tahir, and this is the third in a trilogy. I've read Ember in the Ashes. I haven't read Torch Against the Night. I do own all three, and I read Ember in the Ashes quite a long time ago, so I'm thinking I never normally do this, but I think I'm going to reread Ember in the Ashes and read all 3 of these, books 1, 2 and 3 in quick succession. I've heard nothing but good things about books 2 and 3, so I definitely want to read those. And then I was a bit naughty, and so I will be going to book jail. And me and Matilda went to a charity shop at the weekend, an Oxfam bookshop, and I got myself 2 books. I just really needed a bit of a pick-me-up. It had been a tough weekend. Matilda's fractured her wrist. She fell off a tree. She's a tree climber. She climbed a tree at school and fell off, and we've just come back from the hospital and she's fractured her wrist. So she's got a splint on it, and yeah, we just needed cheering up this weekend. So it's not an excuse, but I did pick up 2. The first is a book by an author, and I know I'm going to love this. I've read one of her books, Winter Garden. I am about to read one of her books, Firefly Lane, and this is the one that everyone says is amazing, and that is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. So I need to read this, so I picked it up. She writes really excellent books that are often set in the present, and we have lots of flashbacks to a past, which is quite, which obviously has something to do with the story, but they're often key moments in history, maybe bits that we haven't heard before, and there's normally that past present you know, flit in the book. And I've heard nothing but good things about this one, even though it's set in the war. I'm gonna give it a go. And then the other one I picked up just because it just called to me. It's quite an old book. I think it came out in 2008, so it is quite old, and it's called The Hour I First Believed by Wally Lamb. I don't know if any of you have heard of this, and if you have, can you let me know if you enjoyed it? It's got relatively good, well, it's got good reviews on Goodreads, although there's not many reviews, but I just think it sounds really intriguing. It says, Caleb Quirk and his wife Maureen moved to Colorado to find jobs at Columbine High School. One day in April 1999, when Caleb is called away by a family emergency, Maureen cowers in a cupboard in the school library, hiding from 2 students on a murderous rampage. Though miraculously she survives, Maureen cannot recover from the trauma. Seeking solace, the couple returns to Connecticut to an illusion of safety on the Quirk family farm. As Maureen fights to regain her sanity, Kylam discovers a cache of forgotten memorabilia spanning 5 generations of his family. As he painstakingly reconstructs the lives of his ancestors, he must confront their secrets and fashion a future from the ashes of his own tragedy. His personal quest for meaning becomes a mythic journey that is both contemporary and quintessentially American. I just think this sounds really, really hard-hitting and intriguing, and yeah, I just had to pick it up, so that's that. So that is some books that I've read, some books I've received. Have you read any of these? Have you got any of these on your shelf to read? Let's chat in the comments down below as always, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye for now, BookTube.